Welcome back to all of my incredible subscribers. Today, I wanted to try something a little bit different than what I normally do. Today, I wanted to try reading a bedtime story for my subscribers. Yeah, today we are going to learn English with a cozy ASMR story. Our goals for today are to learn English in a calm, relaxing way, and maybe even to fall asleep as we are learning English. If you guys are listening to this video late at night as you get ready for bed, hopefully it can relax you. It can put you in the mood to sleep. Click like on this video, make sure you are subscribed, and let's dive in. Let's get started with a quick read of the story. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. The miller, trying to appear important, told the king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. The king, curious about this amazing talent, summoned the girl to his castle. The miller's daughter was locked in a room filled with straw and was ordered to spin it into gold by morning, or she would be punished. She had no idea how to do it, and she began to cry. Suddenly, a strange little man appeared, offering to help her spin the straw into gold in exchange for a necklace. The next day, the king was delighted with the gold, but he wanted more. He locked the girl in an even bigger room filled with straw. Again, the strange man appeared, and this time she gave him her ring in exchange for his help. For the third time, the king locked her in another room. This time, the man said he would only help if she promised to give him her firstborn child when she became queen. Desperate, she agreed, and he spun the straw into gold. The king married her, and in time, the queen had a baby. The strange man returned to claim the child, but the queen begged him to reconsider. He agreed to let her keep her child if she could guess his name in 3 days. After 2 failed attempts, one of the queen's messengers overheard the little man singing this song in the forest. Tonight, tonight, my plans I make. Tomorrow, tomorrow, the baby I take. The queen will never win the game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. When the queen finally guessed his name, Rumpelstiltskin became so furious that he disappeared forever. The end. Awesome job, guys. That was a quick read of the story, and maybe you feel a little bit confused hearing the story. Maybe it was a little bit challenging for you in certain places. Maybe it felt a little bit hard, right? Well, don't worry, because now in part 2, we come to the deep dive of the story. Yeah, this time we will take a closer look at the story with synonyms added to help you expand your vocabulary. So what I'm going to do is paraphrase a lot. Yeah, using synonyms, using different ways of saying the same thing. This will really help you guys with understanding of the story and comprehension of the story, but it will also help you expand your vocabularies. So let's give it a try. Starting at the beginning here. Once upon a time, every fairy tale begins with once upon a time, right? It means long, long ago. There was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. What is a miller? A miller is someone who works with grain, a little bit like a farmer, right? So this miller was very poor. Another way we could say that is the miller was very impoverished. He did not have a lot of money. We could also say that he was destitute. But this very poor miller, he did have something amazing. He had a beautiful daughter. We could also say a lovely daughter, a gorgeous daughter, a stunning daughter. The miller, trying to appear important or seem significant, seem like he was a somebody, right? Like he actually mattered in society. He told the king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. Straw is like long, dry grass that you might feed to a cow. Straw, right? So he's telling the king that his daughter can take straw and turn it into gold, something really, really valuable. In other words, she can take basically nothing and make something incredible out of nothing. Now, the king was very curious about this amazing talent. He was very interested in this incredible talent, right? He really wanted to know more. So, what did he do? He summoned the girl to his castle. What is summoned? That means he fetched her. He called for her. He had her brought over to his castle, his big fancy home where he lives, right? The miller's daughter was locked or trapped or imprisoned, we could also say, made prisoner in a room that was filled with straw, and she was commanded to spin it into gold by when? By the morning, or else there would be consequences, or else she would be punished. She would be reprimanded. Now, of course, the girl's father had been lying. He had been fibbing. He had been untruthful. So she had no idea how to do it, and she began to cry. She began to weep. We could also say, if she's crying really hard, she began to sob, right? Crying really hard, crying a lot. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a strange little man appeared, offering to help her spin the straw into gold, but he wants something in return. He offered to do this, but in exchange for her necklace, in exchange for the jewelry that she wore around her neck. The next day, the king was delighted. He was overjoyed with the gold. Yeah, it had been successful. And the king, we could even say, he was ecstatic. If you are ecstatic, then you are over the moon. You are on cloud 9. You are so very happy and excited. But, of course, he's greedy and he wanted more. He locked the girl in an even bigger room. It was even bigger this time, and it was filled with straw, more straw. The king wants more gold, of course, and again, the strange man appeared, as if miraculously, as if by a miracle. He popped out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere. He appeared out of thin air. He appeared out of thin air, we could say. Just means she can't tell where he came from. He just suddenly showed up, right? And again, the strange man, he offered to help, and this time she gave him her ring in exchange for his help. They called it a deal well done, and he spun the straw into gold, and the girl gave the strange little man her ring. Then, for the third time number 3, the king locked her away in another room, a third room, even bigger than the last, right? This time, the strange little man, he said that he would only help if the girl promised, if she swore to give him her firstborn child when she became queen. What's a firstborn child? It's the first child, the first baby, the first kid that a woman has, right? Kid number 1. So, this girl, she's going to become queen, and she's going to have a baby, and that means the baby will be a prince. And a prince is a very valuable thing, maybe even more valuable than gold, right? So that's what the little man wants. And the girl, she's desperate or in a state of despair. She has no other option, right? So she agreed, and he spun the straw into gold yet again. Well, time went on. Time kept on going, and eventually the king married the girl. And in even more time, a little bit later, the queen had a baby, her firstborn child. Now, the strange man returned to claim the child, to demand that she turn the child over to him. In other words, give the child to him. But the queen, she was heartbroken at the prospect, at the idea of having to give away her firstborn child, and she begged the strange man to reconsider. What's reconsider? Means rethink your actions, rethink your plan, maybe do things a different way. Well, he agreed to let her keep her child if, there's a condition, if she could guess his name, his true name, in only 3 days. So she tries to guess his name, tries to guess. She fails 2 times after 2 failed attempts, 2 unsuccessful attempts. One of the queen's messengers overheard the little man singing in the forest. Yeah, one of the queen's messengers, one of the people who worked for the queen, they heard the strange little man out in the forest singing a very strange song. Here is the song, right? Tonight, my plans I make. Tomorrow, the baby I take. The queen will never win the game, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. He didn't realize he was being listened to. He was being observed, that he was being watched, right? So he made a big mistake. He said his true name out loud. And when the queen finally guessed his name and guessed it correctly, Rumpelstiltskin became so furious, so enraged, so very angry, so irate. And here's a really big word. If someone's very angry, we can say they are apoplectic. Apoplectic. apoplectic means you're so angry, it feels like your head is going to explode, right? So Rumpelstiltskin was so angry, so furious, that he disappeared or vanished or went away forever. The end. Awesome job, guys. That was a deep dive into the story. Hopefully you understand the plot of the story a little bit better now. The plot, that just means what happens in a story. Yeah, that's the plot of a story. Now, let's do a vocab builder and let's connect the dots with some words. Yeah, let's tie them together. We saw poor in the story. It means you are lacking money, you lack resources. Lack means that you don't have something. You need it, but you don't have it. So if you are poor, you lack money, you lack resources. We can also say you are impoverished, you are needy, you are destitute. Remember that one? You are penniless. Maybe you are even homeless if you have absolutely nothing. In the story, we saw that the miller, the girl's father, he was a poor man struggling to make ends meet. What is make ends meet? That means that you make enough money to pay for food and shelter and clothing, the bare necessities, the basics. Yeah, making ends meet just means you have just enough money to scrape by. Scrape by. You have just enough to eat and have a home, maybe some clothes, but nothing more, right? So we can say the miller was an impoverished man. The miller was a needy man, a destitute man, a penniless man, a poor man. Moving on is a word you guys undoubtedly know. Beautiful. Yeah, you guys know this word, but it's always good to push our understanding of vocabulary. Try to see words we think we know from a new angle, from a new perspective, right? So if someone's beautiful, they're lovely, they're attractive, they're stunning, they're gorgeous, they're good looking, they are very appealing, right, to the opposite sex. A beautiful woman is very appealing to men, and a beautiful man is very appealing to women, right? So the king, he was mesmerized by the miller's beautiful daughter, by the miller's lovely daughter, attractive daughter, stunning daughter, gorgeous daughter, breathtaking daughter, we can say, right? If she's really, really stunning, really, really beautiful, we can say that she's breathtaking. So the king was mesmerized by her. He was transfixed. There's a great word. Transfixed. That means he couldn't look away. He was like obsessed with her. He was so into her, he could not get her out of his head. Let's talk about some synonyms for curious now. Of course, curious means eager to know or learn something. If you have a curious mind, then you want to learn. You want to learn about the world, right? So we could say that someone who is curious is very inquisitive. They're a very questioning person. They are easily interested in things, in the world. They are easily intrigued by things, by the world, right? We say interested in, we say intrigued by. We cannot say interested by. We cannot say intrigued in, right? So you have to be a little careful. Someone who's curious is interested in the world, interested in learning. Someone who's curious is intrigued by the world, intrigued by, the different phenomenon you can see out in the world. The king, he was curious about the miller's daughter's talent. He was interested in learning more. He was intrigued by the miller's daughter's talent, right? Okay, here's another wonderful word, delighted. It means you are very happy or very pleased. If you are delighted by something, delighted by something. Yeah, you are overjoyed, thrilled, pleased, elated, so happy, right? The king was delighted to see the room filled with gold. He was overjoyed. He was thrilled. He was pleased. He was elated. And remember, he was ecstatic. All of these basically mean the same thing. Yeah, they basically mean that the king was so happy to see this room filled up with gold. It used to be full of straw. Now it's full of this priceless treasure. One more word I'd like to talk about before we get into the end of the video and our speaking practice segment. I want to talk about furious. Furious, it means extremely angry, and we did talk about this a little bit, but just to jog your memory, just to rehash, right? Or talk about it again. It means enraged, infuriated, livid, outraged. We could also say irate, or remember that big $10 word, apoplectic. If you can use that word, you will definitely impress people, because I don't think many native speakers can use that word and use it correctly. So Rumpelstiltskin was furious when the queen guessed his name. Yeah, he was extremely angry. He was enraged. He was infuriated. He was livid. He was outraged. He was irate. Okay? Coming to the final part of today's video, I hope you guys are feeling relaxed. I hope you're feeling chill. I hope that today's bedtime story, this fairy tale, has done a good job of kind of, settling your mind and maybe getting you ready for bed, getting you ready for sleep. There's one more thing I want to do with you, and trust me, this exercise is going to make you very, very sleepy. So it's a great way to end the video, okay? What I want you to try and do is retell the story of Rumpelstiltskin in your own words. Yeah, we heard the story today. Actually, we heard it twice. Now, I want to challenge you to take the story and put it into your own words, because that's how we best learn. That's how we best remember new words and new ideas, by retelling, by paraphrasing in our own words. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to take 1 minute and retell the story of Rumpelstiltskin in my own words. Then it will be your turn. The story of Rumpelstiltskin is a classic fairy tale, a pretty dark story talking about a poor man and his poor daughter. Well, the man tells the king that his daughter has this amazing ability, right? Where she can turn straw into gold. The king believes this, and he takes in the daughter. Now, of course, this isn't true. The daughter can't really do this, so she's in a tight spot. But then a strange little man starts to help her. The little man is magic, and he can turn straw into gold, but he has some big demands. First her necklace, then her ring, then he wants her baby, but he gives her a chance to save the baby if she can guess his true name. Well, luckily for the girl, in the end, she does guess his name, and it's Rumpelstiltskin. that was my 1 minute retelling of this story. And now it's your turn. I know it's a little bit challenging, a little bit difficult, but you guys can do it. Really push yourself. Just try your best and talk for the full minute. Go ahead, tell me the story of Rumpelstiltskin. If you are still listening, if you are still with me, then you must be feeling very sleepy. I really hope that this video has helped you calm down, helped you relax, helped you get ready for bed, and maybe even learn some English. So I'll see you guys next time, and good night.